Welcome on into the Utah Blockcast. I'm Steve Bartle, Utah Insider from KSL Sports. Joined tonight by the fellas, Tyson Mull, Josh Bennett. Cam Beck might be joining us as well midway through the show, but obviously real life stuff happening in the month of December for all of us. So appreciate you guys, Tyson, Josh, for making the time, and hopefully Cam will be able to join us as well. Fellas, how we doing? How we doing? Sunday, December 14th. How we doing?
Utah football. Let me just go with that.
I do too.
We still got 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks and a few days.
Yeah, I miss football. I think it's more fun to watch the football than to talk about the football and all the business happenings of the football. I miss watching the football. So yeah, 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks, and we'll be watching Utah versus Nebraska in the Las Vegas Bowl. New Year's Eve. That's going to be a fun one. We're going to be down in Vegas for that one. Tyson, are you going down to the game?
No, I'm not.
Okay, all right.
I know. I'm sorry. I spend my birthdays with my family, my wife and girls. So
it's your birthday?
Yeah, New Year's Eve.
Oh man, I'm a good friend. Happy birthday, dude! In case I forget, because I'm gonna be busy.
Yeah,
down in Vegas. You know.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So, obviously, this episode, this one is going to be, this one's going to be a lot. This one's going to be fun, I think.
Why did something happen?
Something happened over the weekend. A couple things happened over the weekend. You know.
Oh man.
Well, the
no
big things
happened. Nothing major. You know. Only Utah's winningest coach in program history, the 38th all-time winningest coach in college football history, elected to step down from his post as head coach of Utah football. This isn't retirement for Kyle Whittingham. It's a handoff to one Morgan Scalley, and so obviously this is something that we all knew would come at some point, but obviously given the announcement of him stepping down and this not being a retirement per se, I think is really interesting. So obviously, I did the instant reaction show, and we've now had a couple days now that things have gone official on the Morgan Scalley front to kind of let things set in and kind of really collect our thoughts over the last couple days about what's going on with Utah football, with Kyle Whittingham, with Morgan Scalley. And so I think this is a great opportunity for us to dive into that and to talk about, Whittingham's decision to step down and what all that means. And so, Tyson, let's throw this one to you first. The tweet goes out. What was that? Friday afternoon, Thursday afternoon? I think it was Friday afternoon. That Kyle Whittingham was stepping down as head coach, that he felt that it was the right time to make the move. So when you saw the tweet, what was your initial reaction, Tyson?
You could say shock, but I think everyone knows this has been coming for a couple of years now. We've had a couple of years recently of will he, won't he? I think if a lot of stuff a few years ago would have gone different, I think we'd be already in year 3 of the Scalley era. But, no matter how long it seems like it's coming, like for somebody who's been the head coach of Utah football for 21 years now?
21 years.
21st season. It's sad. It's gonna be different.
Tell me about it.
Not looking down and seeing Kyle Whittingham roaming the sidelines of a Utah football team. It sucks. I'm excited for the future, but end of an era type thing.
Yeah,
he's been coach since I was a freshman in high school. It's crazy. It's gonna be it's just weird. As much as we all expected it, it's just an odd feeling, a sad feeling. You can still be excited about the Scalley era, and I certainly am, but it's just he's not going to be the same.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet
down there.
Yeah, It's a bittersweet.
I'm sure
feeling.
he'll be down there. I'm sure he'll be down there a bunch. Like you'll still see Kyle, and I would not be surprised if he has a headset on at some point during a game.
Yeah.
Just
Who was it? It was
to
Tom
bring it
Brady
back.
with the Las Vegas Raiders, just up in the booth. In one of his suites up there at Allegiant Stadium, listening to the head, into the calls and stuff. Bennett, I'll throw it to you. Your thoughts, your initial reaction to the news.
Yeah, when the news hit, it was like that official feeling, right? Because you kind of follow it, and you get to follow some of it from behind the scenes, and you see a little bit of what's coming, and then see how things can change, and why things are played close to the chest, like all the way through. Like it was when it became official, it was hard to just like immediately process it, because I'm in stop and go traffic and getting into Arizona. I've got the wife, the two kids, the wife's parents, and we're headed to retirement community kind of coincidentally, which is kind of fun because and I know that this isn't a retirement, but it's a semi-retirement at least. And some people do that. They semi-retired Arizona too. Saw some family friends that are, like friends of my wife's parents that moved down here. And it's a whole ecosystem down here, but that's a whole different conversation. But surprised Arizona, not so surprised when the news came, because like Tyson said, we saw it coming. We knew it was coming. And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, maybe it's not this year that torch is going to be passed. And then it was like, oh, actually, it sounded like it's going to be this year. And then it was one of those, like with Kyle, nothing's official until it's official. And then you see it go official. So, yeah.
Obviously I did the instant reaction, podcast as soon as the news went up. And I obviously tweeted out that Kyle Whittingham had retired, and posted the live stream that Kyle Whittingham had retired. And it's just funny now, a couple days later, rewatching some of the clips. KSL Sports, we put together a short tribute little clip of Kyle Whittingham, and it features his comments from the Utah-Wyoming game, of him calling out the coach and basically saying like, well, he said they were going to win. And, when you say things, it means something. Like it doesn't necessarily like lose value, it doesn't go away. And I think that was just so perfect to kind of, with this not being a retirement, but stepping down, I think that is very important. A big distinguishment for Kyle Whittingham. He takes that stuff super seriously, how things are worded, how things are phrased, words that he uses. He's very careful to make sure that this was stepping down. And obviously I'm entrenched in all of this, right? I had been following this the last couple of weeks, and never once did somebody mention that this would be a stepping down or a stepping away. But it was always, I knew that Kyle Whittingham wanted to continue coaching. Like I knew that, it's just that this was never mentioned as a possibility. It was always either going to be retirement or he was coming back. And so I just never pieced it together that the guy that really words matter to him, and words with certain meaning, carrying certain levels of importance, especially in a situation like this, would be very careful to frame it this way, that he is stepping down from his post as head coach. So, as we obviously got the news, that obviously the Kyle is stepping down, like the transition we knew was coming. But I would be curious, this not necessarily being a retirement, but Kyle stepping down. What are we feeling on that? Bennett, I'll throw that to you first.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one, right? Because you've always wondered what Kyle could do if he breaks away from Utah, like he's been lured, numerous times, right? Into some pretty big programs, throwing big bags of money. And you always wondered what he could do with more resources. And there's, when there's a job open like Michigan, and you think about the brand of football Michigan plays with, and historically, and what that that matches very well for a guy like Kyle. Then you have like a natural, like, fun little storyline there because Urban Meyer coached at Ohio State, so you could have like a little Urban Kyle, like, kind of fun little rivalry there. Michigan very much needs like a squeaky clean guy to come in and like be able to like win now, and like you'd expect Kyle to maybe not win the whole thing in year one, but in year two, like with Michigan resources and stuff, you could probably get there. And he could be a bridge that can make everybody forget about the absolute mess that unfolded last week. There's two places to look at college football last week, and it was Kyle Whittingham and his Utah Utes, and then the Michigan mess, and then again at Kyle Whittingham, and no longer part of the Utah Utes. So naturally, a lot of people look there, but I think from like a fan perspective, just listening to everybody's sentiment there, I think everybody hopes that his last game coaching would be in the last logo he wears is a Utah logo, and they figure out whatever they got to figure out to keep him around in a capacity that everybody's happy with, including himself, including Morgan, respect to him taking over. And maybe there's a way for everybody to coexist in a way that this transition is seamless and not abrupt, and everybody's good, right? So, yeah.
It really would suck to see Kyle Whittingham with a different logo on his shirt or on his hat, and coaching another team, but he's afforded the grace to do what he feels is best for him. And I mean, come on, you do something, especially coaching football for 20, I mean, okay, head coach for 21 years,
long time,
coaching football for a very long time, and then you don't do that for that long, and then like one day just, nah, I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna be around it anymore. Like,
yeah,
zero chance. Kyle Whittingham just goes home and skis and rides his motorcycle and is a grandpa, like everyone, like every other one of us would do when we retired from something.
Yep.
But whether he wants to go coach Michigan or I don't know, somewhere else, or take another coaching job at another school, like he's afforded the grace to do what he feels is best for him. But selfishly speaking, I hope he just sticks around the Utah football team for another 30 years.
I've got a kind of a sicko scenario that I feel like I have to like put out there just because it would be hilarious, right?
I know what you're going to say, and I don't like it.
I'm sorry, but Kyle Whittingham's the kind of guy that no, I'm not going. Maybe I'm going there, but I hope that I'm not going where you might think I'm going. And no, not there, nowhere. Not that kind of South, like a different kind of South, like California. Like, okay, so he's the kind of guy. Kyle's the kind of guy. Like, a lot of these coaching positions didn't open up this year because the carousel got real rowdy real quick, and there were people that sat out. Maybe like Baylor being one of them. Maybe USC, and you think about Kyle, kind of how he's owned Lincoln Riley and made Lincoln Riley look like a pedestrian coach on numerous occasions. Some kind of sicko scenario where they push Lincoln Riley out and they bring Kyle Whittingham in finally, because that phone has rang before. They've rang the Utah tree multiple times, and sometimes successfully. Think of like they've stolen assistants and things like that, or recruits. They take our Utah's homework and they see Utah offers, and it's like, okay, we'll go offer too, and blah blah blah. Kyle goes there and does what nobody's been able to do since they were paying people and they were cheating, right? And now all of a sudden you've got he could win there in 2 years. So it's a sicko scenario that it's like, when framed with, can you root for Kyle anywhere? Like, where's the line? Like, I feel like I could at USC, but it'd feel really dirty, but it's not quite.
That would be wild. I don't even know who the AD is there now. I think it's lady from Washington, Jen Cohn, I think is who it is. Anyways,
Yeah.
she probably walks into Lincoln Riley's office and is like, "Listen, son, Daddy's coming home." Just Kyle Whittingham walks in the door
with Kyle.
Daddy's home.
Like, hey, this is
that's so gross.
I'm sorry, like, but that I got framed it because like he is the kind of coach that like all of a sudden you might still have a guy in place, but you're like, I'm gonna go behind my guy's back and I'm gonna knock on Kyle Whittingham's door and see if he'll come. That might be that could be something, but I think what somebody said it in the space the other night, and I just stopped there, and I stopped thinking that he'd go anywhere. And if he went somewhere, he would be away from his family, and that's what's ultimately kept him at Utah since day one. I don't think he's going to leave the state of Utah. I don't think he's going to go coach those guys down there. I don't think he's going to go and have any fun with Bronco Mendenhall or Weaver State. I don't think he has any of those adventures. Like I could see him coaching like the Utah Mammoth before I could see him coaching any of these other in-state schools. He plugged them randomly that one night. Remember? Like just randomly out of nowhere. He's like, about those Utah Mammoth.
He loves Coach Terigny.
How about this scenario? What if Kyle Whittingham goes the Dennis Erickson route? 10 years, 15 years down the line, so just decides, I got the itch again, and just like becomes
John
DC
Pease action.
Like, I don't know, Florida or like just legendary head coach that just he's been out of coaching for a while and just he gets a call and he goes, yeah, I think I got another run left in me.
I think you're onto something.
It's so funny. He's always said like he's not a lifer, but every little action, everything he does screams he's a lifer. It's so funny to think of him like, he made the comment after the Kansas game that he was going to be spread eagle on the couch relaxing. That he probably did that, and it probably lasted 30 seconds. And he's just like, I don't like this. I gotta watch film. I gotta start breaking down Nebraska. Like, he is a lifer. He has it in his blood. He's been doing this so long. He doesn't know anything else to do but to coach. Like, it's just, these guys, some of these guys are just wired that way where they can't get it out of their system. And I do think that is a thing for Kyle. Like, the thought of not coaching, the thought of retirement, obviously, he wants to spend time with his family. Like, obviously, we're not saying he's trying to avoid family time, but the itch to coach is serious for some of these coaches, and that's Kyle Whittingham. So I 100% believe that.
He hasn't coached his last time. He'll coach again at some point.
He's gonna coach somewhere, dude.
Even if he's gonna pull a piece.
He's gonna pull an Erickson. Yep.
Someone needs a D coordinator for one season, and it's and someone gives Kyle a call, and he goes, "Yeah, I can do it. I can do 1 year. Hell yeah, let's do it."
I've thought of like a lot of things, and I've heard a lot of thoughts and ideas, but hell yeah, Tyson. That's one that I feel like I haven't hashed out and thought of. I think you're absolutely right. Step away, go be a grandpa for a little bit, come back in 10 years, be appeased, like he's 100%. He's going to coach again at some point.
100%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. I said the thing too, like think of like a TV show that you watch for years and years and years and years. And then at the end of it, you're kind of bummed because all of a sudden you're like, I'm not going to see these characters anymore. Like for me, one of the biggest ones would be like Entourage, right? Like as soon as it's gone, it's like, oh, the homies, they're gone. Like it's just never going to see it. And then they do the movie and you're like, oh, they're back. Like, I think you get that he's back moment, but I also don't think he's going to ever be that. Like he's not going to be the TV character that's all of a sudden, he's going to always be around in some way. You're going to always know what Whittingham's up to. He's got a whole family. Like the Whittingham name, the legacy will live on forever. 100%.
100%. So this sort of gets us to an interesting topic, right? Because I think we all agree this is the right time to make this transition, regardless of Whittingham retiring or stepping down and continuing to coach. Do we all agree that this is the right time to make the move to Morgan Scalley?
Tyson kind of already touched on it. Like, I've been that guy. Like, we could be just wrapping up Morgan's second season and entering his third season next year. So I think it is the right time. Any of these last 3 years, I think there's a world where there could have been one more year, but anything beyond that, I think you exceed that right time, if you will.
Morgan's been waiting for too long.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed out that Morgan's 2 years older than Kyle when Kyle took over as head coach.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Really?
I swear, somebody pointed that out. He's either a year or two older than Kyle was when he took over in 05.
He's in year 21 as a head coach. He's 66. He took over at 45. How old is Morgan? I'm gonna Google it. He's 46. Holy cow.
There you go.
Morgan is 46 years old.
Cool, Tyson.
Holy cow, dude.
That's a good pull.
Wow.
I'm saying,
I never would have guessed. It is, yeah. Wow.
And I think that gives even more credence to Morgan doesn't want to wait, and he's got dang good reasons to not want to wait. He stuck around for this long to be the head coach at Utah, and he's at 46 now. It's time.
And he's had other programs coming after him for coordinator positions. Bennett, you mentioned USC knocking on the door. USC, I think it was, when was that? 2023?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Came knocking on the door pretty hard for him as defensive coordinator to join Lincoln Riley. This last little bit, there's been head coaching interest from programs, power conference programs. He's had interest from programs in a lot of capacities. And so for him to stick around like he has, I think it's significant. And I agree. I do think this is the right time to make the transition, regardless of what Kyle Whittingham ends up doing, right? If he, takes the time, sails off into the sunset for at least a period of time before he comes back and coaches, or he continues to coach, finds a job. He takes the Michigan job, which I have heard he will be pursuing. So that is going to be a thing to keep an eye on. But I think, regardless of what Whittingham does, it was the right time to make this transition because of, obviously we've talked about Morgan Scalley being 46. He's had interest. He's stuck around. But as this game has evolved, college athletics has evolved, and we're going to get more into Scalley, I just think it's the right time. But with that in mind, how should fans feel about the potential for Kyle Whittingham to be potentially coaching somewhere else, maybe as soon as next month? How should fans feel about that? I think obviously you appreciate what Whittingham did, and I think the easy way for this to have all gone down is for Kyle Whittingham to simply retire, to set off, to say this was a great career. But I think, again, I know that he wants to continue coaching. That's what he provided his written notification on December 5th. He wanted to continue coaching. And, I just think that, this is the right time to make the transition. But I just curious how you feel what do you guys think fans should feel about Kyle potentially, coaching next year?
I'm not going to tell people how to feel, but your opinion means nothing.
Oh,
to Kyle Whittingham.
Not wrong.
Once again,
I
said this a couple minutes ago. He is afforded every bit of grace possible to do whatever he wants to do. And if you don't like it, feel free not to, but it doesn't matter. I will personally, I will hate seeing him coach a different team next year if it happens. But it's his, it sucks. But once again, he can do what he wants.
Yeah,
that's just how
for sure. No, you're absolutely right. He's put himself in that position to do that. Yeah, absolutely. Bennett, go ahead.
I'd eat it up. I might feel dirty eating it up, but I'd probably have to for sure eat it up, and I'd root for him every step of the way. And I think that's what most people would do, probably, or all of us included. But you feel a little dirty, and depending on the logo, dirtier. And then there's a line somewhere where you can almost, not necessarily like speaking of John P's, wish them nothing, but I'm happy for that guy when he gets when they win. I'm happy for that one guy. Talking about the guy that turned down Penn State and all that. So yeah, not going to give them too many airwaves and talk about their coaches and their logo on this Utah blockcast with Kyle Whittingham, Morgan Scalley, and the most elite, the most fine branches of the state of Utah's coaching tree.
All right, let's kind of transition to some other things here. With the way it was handled, right? The process, just we got a tweet and an announcement and a press release Friday afternoon, a week after he was contractually obligated to give his notice. No press conference yet. We haven't been able to talk to coaches at all. We haven't been able to talk to players at all. We've had no player or media availability, coaches or players this month. So it's been kind of weird. Any thoughts on the process, how it all has gone down, and then we can transition into more big picture talk with Kyle Whittingham.
I'm personally a little disappointed that we didn't get the injury report with Kyle Whittingham included in it. I thought that was a prime opportunity, since everybody across, especially like Big 12 fandoms, like with Utah, desecrating the sanctity of injury reports, is that the first injury report for the Vegas Bowl we just got out. Kyle
questionable,
retired.
Questionable.
I thought the golden opportunity was missed, but like once again, we know Kyle's a no nonsense like guy. Like he's not going to do something like that. Like I wish he would have.
I wish he would have too. Golly, I wish he would have.
I just wish that would have been the announcement, was just him showing up on the injury report. Excuse me, the availability report. Let's get the semantics.
That's what makes it more perfect. Is like
exactly.
Availability is up for debate, And
the whole lead up.
He's at the very least on. He's on the availability report at the very least right now, as it sits.
Yes, absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
Bennett, did you have any thoughts on that? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say the whole thing was kind of just like the announcement was just kind of understated. You know what I mean? It was it was not a big. There was no big deal, no big fireworks. Just a letter from coach put onto Twitter, and that's how everybody found out. So yeah,
understated is the right word, and obviously Kyle Whittingham, said as much when he retired, that he'd be here one day and he'd be gone the next. But I feel like, man, Utah, like you've got to do more for Kyle Whittingham than a press release. Like you have to force him to do a press conference. You have to force him to do the tribute videos. You have to force him, because he is that meaningful to your fan base. He means that much. You need to get him in front of a camera and have him say words. I think there's been and obviously, with what's been going on behind the scenes and Kyle Whittingham and that, like, obviously he's going to be stubborn and stuff and not want to do this, obviously, but this is huge. This, like, we're talking about a living legend, right? Like when I got emotional in the instant reaction show, obviously I have the personal experiences with Kyle, but it's because we're talking about a living legend. This guy is one of the rares in college football, a truly elite presence and person. And you're just going to say thanks and goodbye in a press release. I just, I'm sure that they've got future plans for stuff, but I feel like Kyle Whittingham, with even just this, they're going to honor him. They're going to do the statue. They're going to do all the things down the road. But this right now, this is a big moment. And I feel like Utah, the understated release is just got to do better.
Do you think they'll go right away with like a statue, like maybe like a naming of a field, like RG3? We saw it. We went and saw. He has his statue at Baylor already. Like,
Yep.
do you think Kyle's gonna have to wait longer than RG3 did, or do you think this is something that would go right away?
That's a good question. When did the RG3 statue? When was that built?
I don't know, but I also don't want to know how long ago RG3 was at Baylor, because like I think it's starting to like age things really quicker than I'm comfortable aging them, because okay.
Guess when that statue was built?
When was it built?
2014. That's insane, because
I
swear
I'm not okay with any of this. Does that mean like it was like built while he was still playing for the? No, he was already like one like blown knee and all that. Okay, yeah, that ages everything.
That's insane. Robert Griffin was at Baylor in 2011. It was a Heisman in 2011. So he had 3 years from his Heisman season to the statue going up. Well, the clock's counting. The clock's counting. Utah, it's ticking.
At this point, if that's the benchmark, like the Kyle Whittingham statue should be unveiled during the first game of the year next year.
Yeah.
They already know which.
That's the benchmark they're doing.
They're doing the like, you know, the hands up, like
the Pac-12, first Pac-12 title celebration. Yeah. He looks up into the sky, saying thanks.
I thought it was just calves, just his calves.
The calves will be there for the slap.
That deserves a statue in front of the strength and conditioning, the weight room.
Just with
slap
calves.
The calf.
Yeah, slap the calf, dude. That's what it is, dude.
That's Utah.
Like a champion
when
today.
They walk out. Yeah, when they walk out. Yeah, dude.
And the Hokie Stone, like, as they walk out, just slap Witt's calves. You got one on each side.
Is that the Vegas challenge? Is to slap Witt's calves?
Yeah, dude.
Whoever can get it done without getting beat up.
Dude, you know he's tackling whoever tries that, dude. Whoever attempts, he's coming with perfect tackling form.
6 feet in the dirt. You do that.
Shoulder to gut, head up, wrapped up, and lift and drive. Kyle's coming with it still. Fundamentally sound tackling. So I hope we get a calf slap, but just be prepared. You're getting tackled into oblivion.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk Kyle Whittingham, the Kyle Whittingham era, big picture. When you guys think of Kyle Whittingham, what are some one word to describe Kyle Whittingham? What comes to mind when I ask you that?
Ooh.
Tough.
Utah.
Like, he's synonymous with Utah football.
Consistency. Yep.
Like you know, we got Ronnie Mack, you got Urban, but I mean, with where like, you know, social media and, you know, availability for like people to like, you know, start to like watch college football more, not just being, you know, watching your regional coverage back in, you know, the 70s and 80s. Like, anybody thinks of Utah football, they think the first thing they think of is Kyle Whittingham.
Yep.
In like the general scope of college football. So like, you know, he's synonymous with Utah football at this point.
Yep. Very much so. And you know, one of the first words that they'll use in Bennett, I'm glad it's the first thing that you said was tough, right? That's the culture that he instilled in this program, is toughness. And, you know, it's, you know, when you talk about Kyle Whittingham, it's physical toughness, but it's more mental toughness than anything else. It's that never die attitude, the things that he truly believes in, he's instilled in this program, and the toughness, you can see it throughout the program, right? You can point to it in big moments, in big games. Sure, they've come up short. They haven't been able to finish the deal in all of their big games, but you look at a lot of their big wins over the last couple of years, and you can point to physical and mental toughness as kind of the calling card in those games and in those performances, right? You go to that 2022 USC game. All the talk was about Caleb Williams getting injured Well, look at the other quarterback in that game. Cam Rising had his knee held together by duct tape and all of those types of things. So he instilled toughness into this program. That is what his defining characteristic is when you're talking about Utah football. And it goes into every little layer, right? It's not just how they play on Saturdays. It's, what they do in practice. It's how they prepare, in the day-to-day. It's what they recruit to. When they bring kids in, they have a certain profile that they like, and not just like athletic, physical traits. We're talking mental qualities, personality, traits, those types of things. Kyle Whittingham has established this as the calling card, the identifying mark of Utah football. And it's been so ingrained in Utah football that they can identify kids that have the right type of toughness, high school kids that will work in the program and who won't. Like that's how ingrained it is, how much it is in the DNA that they can ID it in a high school kid, whether he's going to work here or not. Like that's Kyle Whittingham. So that's what he established, is that toughness culture. And I think that's going to be what continues on as we move forward under Morgan Scalley.
Go search, or like not search, but like go to the quote tweets from Kyle's retirement tweet or stepping down tweet. Like you'll see plenty of former Pac-12 players. Like some ones that jumped out to me was like Sua Cravens. Yeah. When he was at USC, like all of these former players will say that the thing they remember most about playing Utah was just getting beat up. It was just how tough they were, how physical they were, and how hard of a game it was always going to be when you saw Utah on the schedule. And that's 100% Kyle Whittingham to a T.
That's why you don't try to slap his calves, but no, it's
you got to be a real tough guy.
You got to be tough. No, I think you guys wrapped it up well. I mean, that's Utah football to a T. Is you got to come proper. And some of these teams that play that soft brand of football, that's where you saw Utah start to punch upwards in weight class and get the better side of Oregon and USC and whatnot in the Pac-12 days.
And I think too, like the reason that is so vital to Utah's identity under Kyle Whittingham is they coach their players hard, and they develop their players over the course of time. They turn them into NFL players. That's when you start talking about some of the more in-depth takeaways of what Utah football is, right? The initial one-word answers: toughness, physicality, family culture. But then you start diving into what makes this program go. And it's the player development. You look at the number of players that have been drafted into the NFL over the last decade. And again, it's a credit to Kyle Whittingham for remaining who he is and what got him to this point as a coach, right? Being tough, being demanding, having a standard, having a culture of family values, coaching these guys hard. Those are things that I think will continue or under Morgan Scalley, because he was brought up in it, right? As a player, he was an All-American as a safety at Utah, and continued on. But what do you think, like, what else is kind of the hallmark of the Whittingham era? What else do we feel like are things that are ingrained in this Utah football program?
Family, a brotherhood. Like, it's not one of those things that they're just hanging on the wall and it's not just one of those like HR buzzwords, if you will. It's they mean it inside that program, and a lot of the intangibles, that togetherness is what's allowed Utah to make that climb over the tenure of Whittingham. It's not something that you can buy. It's not something that you can foster overnight. That's years and years and years, and it's why the handoff from Whittingham to Scalley to keep that continuity, and keep that togetherness, keep that it inside of the family is so important, and is what's going to allow something truly special to continue onward, if Morgan's able to do everything that many of us believe he will and is able to do.
Let me ask this, right? When we get to the Hall of Fame induction for Kyle Whittingham, or when he's on the ballot, he's getting voted, what is going to be at the top of his resume for the Hall of Fame? What is going to be the thing that people point to? And I've got to sort of, and this is, it doesn't have to be one single thing. It can be, big picture type of takeaway, but I would be curious your thought. What is at the top of his resume on the Hall of Fame ballot?
I think biggest thing would be like where Utah is as a program now is fully on Kyle Whittingham. Like going from WAC Mountain West to Pac-12 to conference championships to Rose Bowl appearances, and then potentially set up for the future, like where people see Utah football as where the point of the program is fully on Kyle Whittingham's shoulders. He's the one who takes over at like first head coaching duties, is splitting it with Urban in the Fiesta Bowl, to the Sugar Bowl win, to the Pac-12 invite, to Pac-12 championships, to steering the program through two deaths in 2 years on the team. Like where people's perception of Utah football is solely because of Kyle Whittingham. Okay, not solely, but 90%. Like Ronnie Mack and Urban set it up, but like Whittingham took that trajectory and sailed off with it.
So when people think from the outside, when they think of Utah football, I think that the first image that pops up is Kyle Whittingham. And my brother was at an event with Rob Stone with Fox. This is as Utah's rolling into the Big 12. And they FaceTime me, and the first thing he wants to talk about is Kyle Whittingham, motorcycles, wants to go down Parley's Canyon on the back of Kyle Whittingham's motorcycle. It was just funny. Like, no, people think Kyle Whittingham for sure. And, people talk about program builders. Kyle Whittingham is not a program builder. He's a program pioneer.
100%. And I think that's what, for the fans, right? For the fan base, Kyle Whittingham is everything for Utah fans, because we were all so invested in that transition from the Mountain West to the Pac-12, right? We were all invested in that. I was serving my mission actually out in the Bay Area when Utah got the official invite to the Pac-12. And I was with a family who went to the University of Utah, had alums and all that sort of stuff. The Schlotterhoffs, actually, Caleb Schlotterhoffs, his parents were actually, in the ward I was serving at the time as well. Anyways, besides that, so we were all so invested in that, right? In that transition. And what's so fun is we all remember the games each and every season where you could feel the progress, right? You could feel like, okay, this is another good step. It wasn't always like, there were ups and downs, obviously, but we all remember 2013, Utah taking down Stanford. We all remember 2014, right? Going to UCLA, getting that win, getting the USC home win at Rice-Eccles Stadium, right? Getting into 2015, going up to Oregon, David versus Goliath. No, this is two Goliaths, and Utah putting it on Oregon. We all remember those games each and every season where you're like, all right, we've made another step. And that, I feel like, is going to be such a unique thing for fans to share that with each other, but also to remember Kyle Whittingham, right? He was the guy at the helm guiding Utah. And I think it's a perfect reflection of who he is as a coach, right? It was never, he never took shortcuts. He was always about consistency. He was always about, putting in a lot of the work, the hard work, the effort, and gradually, step by step, bit by bit, he scaled the mountain. And I think that is what Utah fans are going to remember most. And I think that's going to be a unique thing that Utah fans, I don't know that that's going to be an experience that can be repeated, because Utah made that transition. So it's such a unique thing. And why, again, I hope that everybody appreciates Kyle Whittingham being the living legend that he is, right? Because of what he did from 2011 to 2022. Just an incredible run, and we were all incredibly invested in it, and played an important role in it too, as fans. Recruiting benefited from the fan base, making the incremental improvements each and every class. All of that stuff played a part in why I feel like, Utah fans are gonna remember Kyle Whittingham for that is just that journey from ground level in the power conference to the very top.
And I think I think Morgan's going to be very successful, and by all means could surpass Witt in wins in a lot of different things. But outside of Morgan, getting to the national championship, it's going to be really tough for him to supplant Witt as that dude for Utah football as a coach.
Yeah.
I think for Morgan, a lot of the challenges is to be able to maintain that level of success, that level of expectation that's been set, right? So right now, the expectation is for Utah football to compete for conference championships and have an opportunity to compete for national championships year in and year out. That expectation is there yesterday, today, and it'll be there until it's not. So Morgan takes over first year with a roster that's really compete, and that expectation will be there. And it'll be important for him to keep it there. But then also he does have that opportunity if the Big Ten call does come, and he's going to have to translate over to getting into the Big Ten. And the Big Ten has Oregon, has USC, but also has Ohio State and has I'd say Michigan, but Utah's already kind of surmounted that level of whatever. But an Ohio State, right? And
yeah. So maybe there will be another opportunity. Maybe.
Yeah. The big thing is for Morgan, I think there will be that,
for sure.
And in 20 years, transition it to the next guy that at that point is probably screwed for legacy points, for sure.
Yeah.
No, but I think to Tyson's point, there's no way that you can expect to match and mirror what Kyle Whittingham did, because there's a lot of uniques there, and it's an unfair mountain there. But yeah.
No, I'm glad that you brought up
Morgan.
The possibility.
Morgan knows that too.
Oh yeah. But dude, if you know Morgan, he's competitive, right? And he's gonna do all that he can to make that happen. Before we transition into more of Morgan talk, let's go. Let's wrap up the convo with Kyle. Let's share our top 5 wins. Kyle Whittingham wins. Let's rank these games. You ready for that, Tyson?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a clear number 1, but it gets a little dicey after that.
Yeah, Bennett, you got your 5?
Yeah, I can rattle off quickly. I went the Sugar Bowl win because that's what kind of started everything.
Agreed.
Listening to Barry Switzer, the way he talked about Utah football didn't have enough, was outmatched, going to get out physical, and blah, 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 blah. Even at halftime, Barry Switzer still salty, couldn't give credit where it was due. Kyle Whittingham at that moment said, any given Saturday, and then I'd probably go Pac-12 Title I because it was finally the monkey off the back, Pac-12 Title II because it felt good to do it again, getting that back-to-back. So that's 1, 2, 3. Number 4 was Stanford taking down a number 5, gave that like any given Saturday, Utah lineup can beat you. It doesn't matter what the roster is, has a brand of football, has an identity, has a game plan that says if you don't come proper against Utah, you walk into Rice Heckle Stadium, you might catch an owl real quick. And then my number 5 to round it all out, I did the 2023. They had a Heisman quarterback. We had a pig farmer, an all-time quote, another just embodiment of who Kyle is, what kind of football team they've got, and like, just trusting the guys that they have. Like, to see Bryson Barnes go out and just get that done, it was a really fun, memorable one that was particularly sweet. So
yes, I love that.
Tyson, I like it. Yeah, I'll go Sugar Bowl number 1 and by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah.
And then I'd go, I think it's 2A and 2B for the Pac-12 titles. Like, I almost want to put USC over it. Just, I think the added like bonus of beating the Heisman Trophy winner and not Anthony Brown. It just kind of adds a little bit more to it. Plus, they were losing,
stopping them from going to the CFP.
Yeah, So I think I might put 22 over 21 in terms of Pac-12 titles. Even though obviously the first one's big, but
great point.
I want to go. 2013 Stanford I think would be next, but I think my 5th one is probably 21 USC. Coming off Aaron Lowe, Aaron Lowe's the tragedy that happened there. I remember going to a friend's house to watch that game and thinking, listen, I just want them just to go out and just forget about everything that's going on, just play ball. Like, they could lose by 50, I don't care. Like, as long as they're just like can like be content with like they're still playing ball and can honor their their brother that way, and to go out there and win in USC, like I think being at USC makes it a little bit sweeter too. But I think I would put 2021 USC as my number 5.
Love that. Cool. Love that. I'll give my 5 real quick here. I've got number 1, the Sugar Bowl win. You painted the picture perfectly by talking about Barry Switzer. It is the quintessential Whittingham victory, right? All the hate, all the doubt. And what do we see? We see an offensive explosion nobody saw coming, and a dominant defense be the bully on the block, right? Like, that is quintessential Whittingham. Whit at his best, just out coaching even the best in the game, Nick Saban. Quintessential Whit. Number 2, I actually went Utah beating number 3 Oregon 38-7 at Rice Eccles Stadium. I feel like, and so I had a little peek behind the curtain, and that sort of, plays into why I put it here number 2. But for me, this was one of those games where Whittingham saw something, the coaching staff saw something on tape and felt like they could absolutely body the Ducks. There was a quiet confidence that that team had going into that game, and I think it's a major credit to Whittingham and his coaching staff for figuring out and IDing some things that they could do, which was basically just run the ball right at them and just bully them. And to me, like, that also speaks to Whittingham and who he was. So for me, I put that game, Oregon, at number 3 because Utah broke them in that game. The championship game, obviously it's much more significant when we're talking big picture, but in terms of just wins, that was Kyle Whittingham breaking the Oregon Ducks. Number 3 for me is the 2022 Pac-12 championship game, 47-24. You knocked off a Heisman, a playoff contender, and you did it just playing your brand of ball, Jaquinton Jackson, Mekhi Bernard, those guys running all over USC, and just an incredible moment to go back-to-back, beating a team twice, 2 seasons in a row is so unique when we're talking about those 2 seasons in particular. Just a really unique thing there. So I've got that game, 2022 Pac-12 championship game, number 4 Stanford. This was the breakthrough win where, you started to feel like, okay, Utah can do this. They can beat teams in this league. And that was where the wheels started turning towards the top. And then the last one for me, this is probably going to surprise some people, but 2019 Utah versus Washington. This was a huge game for that team in particular, but also for Kyle Whittingham, in my opinion. Utah, Kyle Whittingham, there was some sort of mental block when it came to Chris Peterson and the Washington Huskies. They hadn't been able to beat them. Kyle Whittingham, even, I can't remember, was it 2017, 2018 when he had the timeout blunder?
God,
so,
man. In Seattle, I was at that game. At that game.
He tosses the headset off and stuns on himself. That game, I know, meant a lot to Kyle. It meant a lot to the players because they hadn't beaten Washington that 2019, which was senior laden. And for them to go up to Seattle, which was obviously Chris Peterson still being at the helm. Washington wasn't as good as they had been, in years past, but to get that win coming from behind, one of the most beautiful passes I've ever seen a player throw, with Tyler Huntley dropping a dime to Samson Nakua on a little fade route. So many things contributed to that game, but that was a major mental block breakthrough for Utah, for Kyle, that I know means a lot more inside the building than it does outside. So that's my top 5 wins.
Those are good.
I like it.
I feel you.
Okay. Hopefully. And there are so many good games. Like, I was going through the list. Like, there are so many good games to pick from. It is amazing. The 2023 Pig Farmer game is a great choice. You can go back, like we mentioned earlier, the USC victories, the first USC victories were huge.
All of the USC victories are fun. Like,
all of them.
For real.
All of them. Yeah. And you could go back before that, 2008, going into the big house, getting the win. Oregon State, who had just beat number 1 USC the week before. Just so many things, so many games to pick from. And I think
Michigan in Rice Eccles,
the Jim Harbaugh first
Yeah.
game.
I had that as my the most Whittingham win ever was that one, because you get a pick 6 to seal it. You got a coach coming into town, a lot of flowers being thrown at Jim Harbaugh and the coach that he is, and yada yada yada, and then come into Kyle's house and get punched in the mouth. And another one was the 2018 Utah BYU 27-7, 5 minutes to go, down 27-7 to come back and win that one.
The never die attitude of Kyle Whittingham embodied there.
Why he's going to coach again, and what's the over under on that, Tyson? 9.5 years, or are you lower than that?
I think it's 10. I go over on that.
Okay, all right.
If he doesn't take a coaching job next year.
Yeah. Shoot, I think even if he does, I think even if he does, if he does take a coaching job next year, he'll retire after that, and then he'll get an itch 15 years down the road and be back. But all right, enough there. Let's transition to Morgan Scalley. Some quick thoughts on Scalley taking over. Right, a new era for Utah football. Just real quick, just your general thoughts, level of optimism with Scalley taking over.
I mean, I'm super optimistic. It's not a guy who's coming in from outside the program. It's a guy who's been in the program for 20 odd years, or more than that, if you're going to go back to him as a player, D coordinator for however many years now, and I think the biggest thing is how many how many teams that have been very successful recently with sort of that younger, and I say younger, like as if Morgan's still like super young, but like he still has that same energy. He still has that like Dan Lanning, Kenny Dillingham type of vibe to him. So I think combining that sort of, younger energy and younger philosophy with a guy who has been in the Kyle Whittingham program for decades now, like I think is plenty to be super excited about. And again, the guys, you want your head coaches to be psychos.
He's a psycho.
Morgan's a psycho in the best way possible for a coach and a player. So I think there's plenty of reason to be optimistic about that.
Yeah, I think there's no other guy for it. I think it's one of these things he's been waiting for this moment his whole life, more or less, right? Everything he's done football related, like at least from when he's at high school level and Morgan started to realize he had that opportunity to play college ball. He wanted to play at Utah, and then as coach, and that's always been his goal, is to end up coaching the Utah Utes. So no other guy that deserves it more than him. No other guy that I think you can have more confidence in as far as who would take it next and who could take it to the next level. Because coming from a legendary coach like Kyle Whittingham, you're thankful that Morgan's got to learn under him and, take his own notes on, hey, maybe I would have done things this way. And you get to see Morgan, put his own stamp on it that way and improve in those areas. And then there's going to be some areas where Morgan's going to see like, Kyle had that figured out. Like that's great. Like, and you either enhance it or, just take that, learn from that, carry that on. And, Kyle didn't make a lot of mistakes, but there were some mistakes that Kyle made that hopefully Morgan learned from. So there's none of that don't make that same mistake twice kind of thing. So it should be really good. It should be a really good handoff. And I think when you look at Utah football and you wonder what it's going to look like, well, it's going to still very much look like Utah football. And I think that's what's most important in all of this, and what gives me confidence that Utah is going to continue to play winning football for many years to come.
Yeah, what's interesting with Scalley is, he's been handling a lot of the day-to-day stuff. He's been handling being the guy that's, I've heard a lot of things about Scalley and him leading practices and that. I don't want to like make it clear like I don't want to like say that he's been running each and every practice for the last 3, 4, 5 years, but I've heard a lot of things that suggest he's been doing a lot in practice and leading a lot of the day-to-day duties. And so I feel like he's going to be able to handle that kind of, that can be an adjustment for coaches stepping up from coordinator to head coaches, operating and handling that, at that level. But he's been doing it for the last few years. So in terms of the day-to-day operation, things will continue on. But I also know that Morgan has some ideas, has some thoughts, has some wants of his own that he wants to instill in the program as well, whether it be identity or schematics, different types of things. He's going to want to put his imprint on this program as well, and I think that's going to be interesting to learn what those actually are going to look like. Recruiting is going to be a major point of emphasis for him. He wants to beef up recruiting for Utah. And so again, interested to see what that'll look like. But, as he begins to officially take over after the bowl game, I feel like he is the right guy to lead Utah into the future, right? Because we know that college football, college athletics in general, going through a major evolution right now. Utah's at the forefront of those changes, right? With the private equity deal, now you're starting to see Big 12. You're starting to see other conferences talking more and more. You're probably going to hear more other programs looking for their private equity opportunities as well. And I think this all just sort of suggests that the college football game that we grew up watching, it's going to continue to evolve. And I think Morgan Scalley is the right person to lead Utah into this next era of college football. From his personality, his work ethic, I think he's going to be the guy to get it done. So plenty more to come on the Morgan Scalley front, and plenty more probably on the Kyle Whittingham front as well. We might be reporting on Kyle Whittingham 10 years from now, which will just be
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
This one off. We'll talk about this episode like it happened like 2 years ago. And be like, that was that long ago.
Oh man, this is gonna be an archived episode. We're gonna be able to dig it up and look, Tyson called it. Anyways, all right, fellas, we've been going an hour. Let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up. Any final thoughts that you want to get off your chest before we put a bow on this one?
Utah football will still be Utah football.
Yeah. Yes, it will. Man, I appreciate you guys for taking time on your Sunday night to join me to record. Plenty more to come from Utah football and Utah athletics, this week. I'm excited for this week on the Blockcast specifically. We've got some fun things lined up on that as well. So looking forward to it all. And man, enjoy your holidays. Get out, get your Christmas shopping done, Utah fans. It's been busy. It's been a hectic month. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. For myself, Tyson, for Bennett, this has been the Utah Blockcast. Signing off.